My question is, so how do you, I live with sadness and joy. I hear a lot of joy, vibrational joy at different levels, and what I've heard today, some of it sounds like part of a foreign language, and some of it sounds like a universal language.
We're going to be very direct with you. Why do you put up with sadness?
I don't look at it like I put up with it. I look at it like it naturally occurs sometimes.
Well, it does, but why do you put up with it? Why don't you do something about it? Why do you keep the pot boiling? Why do you keep the fire on under that sadness? After Jerry made his transition, Esther felt sad for a long time. She had dinner one night with a friend whose wife had made her transition, and they were talking for a long time with each other over this meal. And he said, you know, sometimes I think I just feel so damn sorry for myself. And Esther thought, oh crap, that's exactly what it is. I'm just choosing to feel sorry for myself. I'm comparing what was to what is. I'm comparing what I wanted to what is. It's just misuse of your ability to focus. That's all sadness is. It's just sloppy thinking. It's not assigned to you. It's not necessary. It's just something you're putting up with unnecessarily.
So when we're taught to feel our feelings, does that mean we don't have sad feelings?
Who teaches you to feel your feelings? We want you to feel your feelings because
Only if they're good?
We don't want you to put a happy face sticker over the gas gauge on your car because it's troubling to see you have no gas. It's good to know where you're at. So we're not encouraging you to not be aware of your feelings. We're just asking you to be aware of them and know for sure you can improve them, and to let that be the thing that matters to you more than all other things put together, because that is what tending to your point of attraction is. You got a vortex full of wonderful things, and if you're not tending to the way you feel, then you have no control over your relationship with any of those things. You can't control what anybody else does or what anybody else thinks, singular or groups or national or worldwide. You can't control the behavior of anyone. You can control one thing and one thing only, and that's your relationship with your inner being, which is what your emotions or feelings are indicating to you. So when you feel negative emotion, the first thought you want to have is, am I going to put up with this? We said this earlier. When something didn't go the way you wanted it to, at very deep levels, you know, something's really jacked up here. I'm supposed to feel good, and my life is supposed to go the way I want it to. And then you get defensive and you try to explain, well, why that happened, how that came about, who was involved in it, what happened, what went wrong. And we say, we love you so much, but blah, 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 because none of that is taking control of the way you feel. That's just giving a historical documentation of what is, and there's a whole lot going on.
So my concrete example, I live down the street from my mother who's in her 10th year of advanced Alzheimer's. I get sad over that. I get joy of being able to be there.
Well, she's figured out how to defocus. You should be applauding her. We're not kidding. A lot of people would like to make their reemergence back into non-physical, but they feel so obligated to fulfill some purpose. So they cling to a life that they don't even like. And then, because their desire is stronger than their belief, they lose their minds. We're not kidding you. It's not a bad thing. It's helpful.
And how do you not feel sad over that? I'm still losing. I'm not getting the thought of, like, how is it not appropriate to not grieve over that sometimes?
All right, hang on to your chair here, because we're going to give it to you really strong and straight. How do you not hang on to that sadness? We want to say it different.
How do you let it get unstuck?
Stay with us. We're wanting to distract you so that we sneak up on you and surprise you. Oh, there's so many things that we could say to you. It's just stupid to be sad. There's just no reason for it. It's like giving up everything that you want by choosing a subject to feel sad about. And you know what feeling sad is? Feeling sad is you looking at it different than your inner being. That's how you know that. You see, when you're in sync with your inner being, you are fully funded with energy and clarity and vitality and all the things that you consider to be life-giving. And when you're not in sync, you feel a withering. And so the not in syncness is thinking contradictory to what your inner being thinks. So 100% of the time that you are feeling negative emotion, no matter how justified you've practiced yourself to be, or how justified your society has helped you practice yourself to be, when you feel negative emotion, it means for sure you are looking at this differently than your inner being is looking at it. Because if you were looking at it like your inner being is looking at it, you'd feel joyous in the moment. So let's choose some doors. We've been teasing about these doors all day today. So let's start there. My mother lives down the street from me, and she's 10 years into advanced Alzheimer's. And how does somebody not feel sad about that? She's diminished from what she used to be. I feel very sad about that. That's the first door. And it feels terrible, so let's do something about it. Because you have control about the way you feel, so let's do something about the way you feel. So let's try to find another door. My mother is in her 10th year of what they call a degenerative disease. And I can't do anything about it. So I guess I'm just going to have to give in and accept it. Well, it's a slight improvement, and it is an accurate statement, but it still feels sucky, doesn't it? So let's choose another door. None of us intended to stay in our physical bodies forever. It's a natural thing that we reemerge back into non-physical. And some of us do it easily, and some of us do it more reluctantly. And sometimes things happen that make it easier. Sometimes you get run over by a big, fast truck. Sometimes you attract something that causes you to not care so much about things. When Burl Ives, you know, the singer, actor, famous guy, he's a friend of Jerry and Esther's. When he made his transition, they'd been there visiting. Esther could feel that it was unfolding and felt it in the moment that it happened. And it was euphoria beyond anything Esther had ever experienced before. She felt release, relief, happiness, big time. So she went to her computer and tuned into us and heard him talking to her. She wrote it down. She wanted to send it to Dorothy, his wife. And Burl said, "Hey, kid, it's just like Abraham said." Esther said, "Thank God." He said, "You caught me fast, didn't you?" Esther said, "Yeah, I've been tuned to you." The most interesting thing is that things that bothered me deeply just moments ago are not bothering me at all. In the death experience, there is a release of resistance. Some people have to find another way to release resistance before they can even allow the death experience, especially people that feel responsible, people who have been very action-oriented, who have been wrestling things to the ground and keeping things in order. It's hard for them to let go and reemerge into the fullness of who they are sometimes. And that's what those kinds of things are about. So that's another door. Did that feel better?
Definitely.
How about this one? Something hasn't gone wrong. It's something going very right. How about this one? My mama's doing something that we're all doing, and she's doing it in her way. Path of least resistance. Good for you, Mom. I support you in every part of this. How about this? My mom had to do something sort of extreme to not worry. Maybe I don't have to do something quite so extreme to not worry. See what we're getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no right or wrong. There's not one way of living that is the right way. There are endless ways of living. But the thing that is sure, every one of you, without exception, intended to like the living that you're doing.
I slip into weird behavior because somebody will send me a text, maybe you're not grieving properly because you seem too happy sometimes. Because in the moment I'll be happy, and then it does shift sometimes.
Did they text you or email you?
They texted me.
So text this back to them.
I'm a happy guy that's sad. Yeah.
Text this back to them. I love you so much. Thank you for your attention. I mean that. Say, I mean that. But through my life, I have come to know that I can't get sick enough to help sick people get well, or poor enough to help poor people be prosperous, or confused enough to help confused people become clear-minded, or sad enough to help sad people be happy. Life is showing me, I'm getting it more and more, still texting. Life is showing me that I get what I think about. And I'm realizing that everything I want is because I think I will feel better in the having of it. But if I keep needing something to be different before I can feel better, I'm never going to get there. I've got to feel it before I can live it. And if they were sincere in their question, they will say, man. If they weren't sincere in their question, if they were trying to control you or manipulate you, they might not text you back, or they might say, you're selfish. Oh, good. If they say you're selfish, then text this. Indeed, I am. Because I have discovered if I'm not selfish enough to hold myself in alignment with that which I consider resource energy, I have nothing to give to anyone. Yeah. And then if you want to go real strong with them, my mother and I had an agreement. This is complete truth. You just don't know it. My mother and I had an agreement that we would never feel sad over the choices that the other made. I'm just now learning to keep that agreement with my mom. It had to get to this before I remembered it. Good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good.